Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on our favourite season upcoming, that of course being The Flash Season 7, unless you're looking forward to another show more, then fair enough, it's not your favourite season. So The Flash is back to filming after their shorter break than compared to some of the other shows that do film up in Vancouver in Canada, and that's based off the fact the cast for The Flash did not leave Vancouver for the holiday period and stayed up there due to previous delays from COVID, putting them behind schedule just the tiniest bit and needing that time to catch up. So some of the other shows allowed their casts to go back to the USA or whatever country they're from, mainly USA, for the holidays. But now that they're coming back, they have to serve a 2-week quarantine after getting back to Canada before they can start filming again. So that's a fun backstory. I'm sure everyone found that extremely entertaining to listen to. Don't worry, you can thank me later. Anyway, back to the cooler matters at hand. So as I said, The Flash is back to filming. It's been back for a few days by the time this video will be out. And with the return of filming comes the return of some set photos to talk about and discuss and theorize, and we'll just theorize as to what is going on. Now, obviously, if you don't want to be spoiled in the slightest, in the tiniest little bit, don't continue. You don't have to keep watching the video. I'm not forcing you. However, I don't think this is a, crazy spoiler as to what's going on in these photos, but they do give us a good idea and a good feel as to what one storyline could be this season, and potentially does connect to a storyline that had been previously teased for the show several months ago, actually almost half a year ago. But yeah, throughout the video, be sure to know your various opinions in the comments section down below, your theories if I don't bring them up, or you can just add to what I say. I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about it, because, you might have some additions or just completely different thoughts to what I'm, thinking in my old brain. So let me know in the comments. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and this intrigues you, why not drop a like on the video? It takes 2 seconds and of course helps support the channel. Now, just to add, obviously the photos and some of this added information is coming from Canada Graphs. So the link to his blog with the photos and some of the information will be linked in the description down below, so you can go check that out and see all the photos after you finish watching the video. Now, there are 2 scenes here with information and photos, and especially after the second scene we go over, we could have a good idea as to what could be going down, not only in this episode, but potentially in a good chunk of the season as well. And to note, these are from episode 7. So they're filming episode 7. Not sure how far they're into it, whether they filmed some before the Christmas break or the holiday break, and now they're filming the rest, or they just started, not too sure. But regardless, The Flash is not too far away from being halfway through filming for this season. They have 18 episodes, so 9 episodes would mark the halfway point. Don't call me the math magician, it's just a natural skill I have doing that good old math. So the first scene to go over had Jesse L. Martin, who of course plays your boy, Joe West, shooting a scene with a random woman who, from what I can tell at the very least, is yet to be seen on the show. I have not seen her before, but angles can do different things. Maybe she's been there before, I don't know. So she appears to be a new character for the very least on the show, or at the very least on the show, whether it be just for this episode in particular, or a potential chunk of episodes for the season. Now in this scene, we do have Joe West rushing after this woman through the parking lot in front of the Central City Police Department, or as the cool kids say, the CCPD. Now as she gets to her car, Joe confronts her and the two have a fairly serious chat, with it seeming or appearing to be that Joe is trying to reason with her and deal with her and stop her from going through with something. But what could it be that she is possibly about to do, or potentially already have done? Well, we get our answer to possibly what she's about to do or what she has already done in the next scene that was filmed that night. Now this second and final scene for this video at least was filmed outside of a pub or a bar, whatever you want to refer to it as. As you can see, it is called O'Shaughnessy's Pub. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, feel free to roast me. With there also being some metahuman task force vehicles parked around us. That might give you a good idea as to what's about to go down. So outside of the pub that's being filmed in front of, the CCPD had set up to take someone down and arrest them, or potentially just knock them down and hopefully they won't get back up again. But who exactly were they set up to take down? Presumably by the woman that Joe was speaking to in the other scene. Well, surprisingly, it's none other than Killer Frost. Or is it just Frost? We'll get back to that later. So the woman who had been speaking to Joe earlier in the earlier scene was also in this scene, and she was yelling orders at Frost to come out with her hands up. So she continues to tell her she has 2 minutes to come out and then 1 minute to come out. And as most countdowns end, she then says time is up for Frost and tells the squad of the Metahuman task force, like members or just people, to move in and take her down. But Killer Frost or Frost moves outside of the pub, or at least they can see her moving towards the front door and then eventually out the door with her hands up, so she surrenders. So then that mysterious woman tells the task force members to stand down because she's coming out, and Killer Frost or Frost succumbs to being handcuffed. So obviously, we need to discuss this. What the hell is going on here? Has, Frost gone evil again and become Killer Frost? Or is there something else going on in Central City, and specifically within the Central City Police Department, that is leading to Frost being taken in without appearing to commit a crime at all, and maybe just because she is a metahuman? It is important to remember that Killer Frost or Caitlin left at the end of last season, but she's back earlier this season. This isn't the episode she comes back. She's back in like episode 2 or 3, if not episode 1 by the sounds of it. So there's a lot of stuff going on with her this season before this. So this isn't like a return to the character or something. She's been there since the beginning by the sounds of it. But anyway, to start off and address the first question, is it possible that she has become Killer Frost again? And while I think it isn't the more likely of the two options that I think are possible here, it is still a chance that creatively they have decided to go down a villainous route with the character again at some point this season. However, I think that is one of those little too late situations. If they were going to do that, like 2 to 3 seasons ago would have been the time to actually do that, stick with it, and let it play out. I know people wouldn't mind seeing Killer Frost back as a villainous force on the show again, seeing that Danielle Panabaker, who plays Caitlin Frost, Killer Frost, all that, was so good as a villainous character. Cold as ice she was. Ha ha. Anyway, let's move on. By the looks of it, and just thinking logically about the show, I don't think Killer Frost going around being a villain again in season 7 is a likely thing that is going to happen, at least in my eyes, but you never know. Now, what I think could be going on this scene particularly, but also just as like a general storyline at this point in The Flash season 7, is an anti-meta task force or program, or whatever you want to call it, going on within Central City, and particularly the Central City Police Department. So to explain it a bit more, CCPD and potentially another outside source connected to it are making it their main priorities overall to clear Central City of metahumans, or at the very least, all metahumans that in their eyes pose a threat to society and the general public as a whole. And for someone that is a bit, anti-meta by default, which could potentially be that mystery woman, or maybe her boss, every single metahuman in Central City would be a metahuman that poses a threat to society and the general public. So they wouldn't be picky, they'd just be going after everyone that is got a meta gene in them. Now this does sound very X-Men, but it works with the show, and it's similar stuff has happened in the comics before. Now this brings up another question as to whether this ties to or is the storyline that was teased for Joe West to be a part of this season, which was going to connect to the current events in America and like the abuse of power within the Central City Police Department. Now looking at this on face value, I think you can make a very strong argument that it is, because it involves Joe, it involves the CCPD, it's technically involving abuse of power and trying to take out, I guess, a minority, if you want to call it, because it is metahumans within Central City. The storyline was meant to mirror some parts that we see in real life, mainly in America, as I said, when it comes to like abuse of power by those with said power. Now, I think even all the way back to, I think it was DC Fandom, or just before when this news was revealed, we guessed on the channel in the videos that we covered around this that it might tie into metahumans in Central City. If you're thinking about like a group that could be targeted, it would be metahumans. But potentially people within the justice system taking advantage of them was a possibility. But looking at this, they are just trying to get rid of them. I was originally thinking maybe it could get people using the metahumans to do their bidding or something along those lines. That'd be very interesting, but this works as well. But regardless, I think we can all safely say that it will be very, and I have to reinstate this, very interesting to see who this new female character is that Joe was talking to, and who she works for, whether it is just some new department or something like that in the Central City Police Department, or an outside group using CCPD as a cover to rid the metahumans in Central City, and it may be tied to whoever the big bad is for the season. Now, there is technically a last potential option that I thought I would randomly chuck in here, and that's that maybe Killer Frost or Frost is being set up. Now, I would say that's likely, but it seems that like I think it depends whatever that Joe scene. If that Joe scene is before this scene, then I would say no. But if it's after, then Joe might be trying to argue like, no, she wouldn't have done that. No, she's back to normal. She's not doing any Killer Frost stuff. She's a hero to us, if you want to call it. She's on the good guys team now. So that could be Joe arguing that. We don't have any real dialogue outside of just the faces they're pulling, if you want to call it, to sort of try and register how serious the conversation was and what type of tone it was. So if that Joe scene is after this scene with Frost coming out of the bar, then maybe you could argue that's a Frost being set up scene. However, if it's the scene before, like Joe versus that random woman is the scene before, then you have to say it's something else and it leans into the other two options. But it will be very interesting to see how this storyline plays out if it is this, because it's something that they talked about early. So it's something that they probably want us to keep our eyes out for, might I say. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on what we went over and everything like that. As I said, check out the blog from Canada Graphs in the description down below for all the photos and information if you want to look at them. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.